This is the practice
Oh.
So I'm Sandy Stockton. I'm one of the managers in the cast department and a new member of Toastmasters this year. Toastmasters is a group of individuals who have gathered together to improve their communication and leadership skills. Oh, that is just fun. So I joined Toastmasters mainly to improve my speaking communication in front of people. I'm not very good at it. I get very nervous, and so I tend to start shaking and my voice starts quivering. So this was the main point that I joined Toastmasters. My talk is going to be on improvement of education, the importance of education, and my need to overcome fear of public speaking. So before I get into the crux of the whole story, I kind of have to give you some history about myself. So when I was younger, I was extremely shy. So if you just sat me in the corner in meetings or in even family affairs, I was perfectly content to sit right there in the corner and nobody bothered me. However, I met and married a very outgoing, gregarious man who was perfectly content leaving me there while he worked. And he managed to work the party just well, and so in self-preservation, I decided that, you know what, I can either sit here eating Fritos all night in the corner, or I can get up and try to do something. So I made that decision to get up and walk across the room and go talk to somebody I didn't know. That was the longest walk in history. And it was that thought where, okay, you know, that walk is just going there was like a fear is, if you can remember when your dad would call you by your first and your last name or your first and your middle name. And it was like that fear, oh man, I'm in trouble now. But I managed to make it through, and I thought, okay, I can do this. All up until the next time it happened. Then that same fear would hit. So I managed to make it through. I got better at social events. Now I'm okay with going to parties and actually enjoy it. So then I went to work and thought, okay, if I work really hard, I can move up in the company, I can get where I needed to be just by showing how good I can do my job. And that worked really great up until the time that I decided I needed to go for the management. You know, so I made all kinds of rational excuses that I've got my kids, I've got to get them ready for school the next day, I've got chores to do, so I don't have enough time in the day to now go to school too. Just wasn't gonna work. So I decided that once I decided to make that jump into management, or that I needed to do this, it was a decision I said I need to make for myself. I needed to go back to school. So at the age of 43, I decided I was going to go back to school. So you think getting up in front of a class is bad? Go up in front of a class and you're the oldest one. You just kind of go, wow, really? And you expect somebody that's young not to be, to maybe be nervous. Oh no. In every class that you went to, you had to give a presentation. Every single class. So that became the fun. So my first class, they have a table similar to that one with a podium sitting on the table. So as I got up there, and of course you have to consider way back when I went to school, they had overlays that you had to put up there to give your speech as well. So as I'm standing there and I'm holding onto this podium and my knuckles are turning white, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So I started my speech. And I'm flipping and I'm doing this, and And as I'm talking, the podium starts to move. I have no idea why the podium was moving, but and I'm trying to give my speech, and now I'm giving my speech like this, and it's going, and it's getting faster, and then finally I realize, oh, I'm moving the podium. I'm like, oh my gosh. So now I'm frozen. I've forgotten everything that I was supposed to say. Half the overheads didn't get presented, and I just froze, went back to my desk in tears. How am I ever going to make it through all these classes and have to do this? But I did. Also during that time, I was working 2 shifts. I had raising my 2 girls. I had was going through a divorce, and I was diagnosed with cancer. But I made the decision that, you know what, I'm so close to getting my degree. I am absolutely not going to let this deter me from getting my degree. It was too important. And I learned so much in school. You learn all the rest of the stuff about the class and, you know, each class that you take. But there was, as far as business and communication style, how you communicate with people, you know, the importance of your grammar and sending emails. Dan is continually still reviewing my emails, saying, oh, I forgot this comma. You know, but it is truly so important when sending out your communication to the field, because there's nothing worse than getting an email and half the words are spelled wrong and you're going, really? And this guy is a manager? And so it kind of makes you kind of click in there and go, wow, I'm so glad I went to school. At least it's a little better. It might not be perfect, but it's better. And I did a comparison from my emails from before I went to school and what my emails looked like after I went to school. Well, those were atrocious. I was like, whoa. I'm kind of surprised that, you know, somebody didn't say something earlier. So I graduated from college, and I came to work, managed to get promoted based on, you know, obviously in management you need your degree, so I got promoted, got my degree. And then I still had to go up and give presentations. I still, you know, every time I got up in front of people, I was very nervous. Then Toastmasters came. So thanks to Anthony and Nick to bring Toastmasters to USF and to our culture. And so in our recent meeting, our latest management meeting, with Dan and the supervisors, and for some reason Nick decided to join. Nick's probably come to 2 of those meetings. And thanks to my mentor, Jacqueline decided to throw me under the bus. And talked about, oh, Toastmasters. Well, why don't we use CAS meetings as the guinea pig for people who have to give their presentation? So Jacqueline says, well, Sandy hasn't done this yet. And the first thing out of my mouth was, well, no. And then in the back of my head, I'm going, clearly that's not going to happen. But as I left the meeting, I thought, the reason why they brought Toastmasters here was for us to improve ourselves and for people to take advantage of that. So that old fear of getting in front of the group, talking, making a fool out of myself, doing all that stuff, I was like, okay, the only way I'm going to get over this fear is to do it. So I thought to myself, if I'm going to make a fool out of myself, what better way to do it than in front of my friends? So here we are. So my bottom line is every day I try to learn something new. The mind is a terrible thing to waste. There are always ways in which we can improve what we do. The largest obstacle is usually fear. Take the plunge, pull up your bootstraps or your big girl panties and just do it.